Final countdown to the start of the World Cup. We did our very own simulations today, and we are back on Inside the Game. Nate Wangler, Ryan Glinsky, 299 as we get ready for number 300 in the start of the World Cup coming up on Thursday. And I talked about those simulations. We got, are any of the old heads going to win another World Cup this year? We'll talk about that. We got some legends who are, I guess, in one way or another, kind of passing the torch to the new generation of what we're seeing. Lamine Yamal, obviously being the number one of which we talked about yesterday, was at the very front end of all those simulations we saw from EA Sports. Also, Chris Richards on his way back was a part of training, is looking healthy. We also got our all sports content as well. So I do want to get into all that, Ryan, but right off the bat here for 299, it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. We don't normally go off the beaten path all that much, but I am curious. What is something that makes you happy?
The Knicks losing.
What?
The Knicks losing.
Wow.
That's why I did.
Okay.
I did 4 horns this morning to open up the show because that's how many points they lost by. 4. So I was like, let's get them 4. Let's get them 4 horns. On a serious note, though, what makes me happy?
I will say though that looked like the coolest postseason basketball environment I've ever seen in my life. So
yeah, no, it definitely looked good. It definitely looked good.
Still jealous of New York, but
they lost
anyway.
And guys, it's just a game. You don't have to fight each other in the streets of New York after you lose, guys. It's okay. Real note though, what makes me happy? Broadcasting a game. There's always I always love the adrenaline rush afterwards. Unless I've done multiple games in a day, then it's just tired. But if it's just one in a day, that adrenaline rush is always something. Exercising is always something that's always helped me. And then I would just say being around friends and family. That's really all that. And then anytime Ohio State or Michigan State loses in sports, that's always a nice benefit.
That's a plus. Yeah, I'll always take that. That's always a boost to the mood. I feel like in one way or another. Yeah, I would agree. I think broadcasting is fun because it's a job where you are expected to be like warm and inviting and kind and like everybody's friend, which is like refreshing, you know. And it's like I think people kind of look at you that way when you are, at least when you do your job the right way, you know, when people actually feel like they can talk to you about anything. And so I think that's what's really fun about that, and I really do enjoy the personal connection that comes with that, whether it's a 19-year-old prospect or whether it be a guy who's been at the highest levels of this game already. There's not many degrees of separation in sports. It's kind of wild. And so I really do enjoy that. Obviously, I enjoy my family as well. I enjoy getting out and seeing different things. And sea lions. Sea lions are the funniest creatures on the face of the planet. They're the most unhinged. I don't. Every time I see a video of a sea lion doing something weird, it just brings a smile to my face. They're just hilarious. You've seen that dance move right now going around, right?
Yeah.
Doing the sea lion.
The sea lion.
That's a new hot one. All the kids are doing.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to see that out at like a bar or something somewhere. Someone doing the sea lion. Although you don't want to do the sea lion on the bar floor because it's probably not very clean. So, but that's the big one that's taken over. I saw a kid do the sea lion at a Whitecaps game. And I'm like,
where?
What the hell is going on?
Where? Kids' concourse?
Kids. I think so. Yeah.
There's
like what?
There's a couple comments
right now.
A couple comments coming in. Fabian had to give a low blow here. He says, we have one thing in common. Both of our teams choked at the last minute. That's a low blow regarding the Arsenal and the Knicks. Dave, also, one day is a Knicks fan, and they lose. Dave is just a Knicks fan because I dislike the Knicks, so he just wants to be a fan of that. He probably doesn't even know who's on the team. But yeah, no, it was a good game yesterday. I was able to watch a little bit on my laptop. I was able to somehow get it on my laptop, so that was pretty good. But yeah, no, still AT&T, ABC, fix your stuff, man. Please, just put it on normal TV. Damn.
Yeah. I don't get the contract dispute is it's not
so stupid. Can we just wait till after when there's nothing on ABC anymore?
Exactly.
Like, let's just wait till after the finals and the Stanley Cup. Like, now I could care less until once college football gets rolling again back in the fall. I could care less about what's going on Channel 7.
Right. Right. But anyways, it is men's mental health awareness month. Sorry, that's always a tongue twister. So I just thought I would bring
Men's
that up.
mental
Thought I'd
health.
talk
Men's
about
mental health. Men's mental.
men's
Yeah, it is a
mental
little
health.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, go do something for yourself today. Go do something you like to do. And if that's listening to us, God help you. But
Yeah, I
here we
don't know
go
what
for
you're doing with your
299.
life.
Exactly. Anyways, let's get into our World Cup simulations. We talked about it yesterday that we were going to do those today. I actually put through a couple of simulations myself. Looked somewhat accurate, but let's see what you were able to cook up here, Ryan Glinsky. I know we're gonna.
Well, I haven't cooked up anything. We're gonna do this one together.
We're gonna do it live. All right.
We're gonna do it together. Should we
All right.
just auto pick the group stage, or should we pick the group stage?
I mean, I probably just auto, right? I'm assuming we would just do auto everything.
All right, we could auto it. Okay.
Let's just auto it. Let's see what we get here.
Okay. So Group A, the Group A started off hot. No Mexico at all.
Wow.
Czech Republic,
Okay.
South Africa, Korea Republic. Group B has Canada, Bosnia, Switzerland. Group C has Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. No Brazil.
No
Dave,
Brazil.
shout out Scotland. They're through.
Dave, hey.
Oh God,
Let's
we
go.
didn't get out of the group.
Dave's like freaking out right now.
We actually did get out of the group. Australia, Turkey, and Paraguay got through. The United States did not get through. Group E, Germany, Curacao, and Ivory Coast. I don't know how that happened. Group F,
first of all,
Sweden, Netherlands, Japan. That's probably going to happen. Group G, I could see this one as well. Iran, Belgium, Egypt. Group, again, I can't tell. Group H, I think, yeah. Spain, Uruguay, Cape Verde, France, Senegal, then Argentina, Algeria, which, by the way, the Kansas City people love Algeria for whatever reason. Portugal doesn't get through. It's Congo and Colombia. England doesn't get through, or Croatia. And we have Panama and Ghana getting through.
Yeah.
Wow. Like I said, there's always
let's go.
a couple big nations that never get through when you auto pick this stuff. So I don't believe we can actually auto pick the knockouts, but
Okay.
Germany and Scotland.
I mean, well, let's just do. You got a coin over there? We could do like a coin flip or something.
All right, here's what we'll do. We will do we'll have, all right, so the top nation, the one at the top, that'll be 1, and then the bottom one will be 2. So we will ask Siri to pick a number 1 or 2.
Okay.
Siri, pick a number 1 or 2. I said 1 or 2, not 81. Pick a number.
Hold on.
1.
I got a coin.
Oh. Wow,
I
that's
got a coin right here.
All right, so heads
All
heads
right.
will be the top nation, or heads will be the top one, and then tails will be the bottom.
Okay. All right. Oh, looks like Scotland is moving through.
Let's go, Scotland. Let's go. Scotland is through. Attaboy, Dave.
Yeah. Woo. All right. France and Japan. Here we go. Yeah. Looks like Japan's moving through as well.
Japan is through.
Oh my Lord, man. This thing is going off the rails very quickly. That is a head. So it looks like South Africa is on to the next round. Okay.
Waka waka. Hey, hey.
Haiti's got a 50-50 chance here. And it looks like Sweden's moving through.
Sweden.
All right. Just barely. Just burly. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, we got heads. Morocco.
Morocco's through. Okay, the Dutch are done.
I just don't want to play Morocco at all if I'm the U.S. men's national.
Well, we didn't even get through.
Deal with any of that. That's true. Heads. Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast. My team from the 2014 World Cup. Czech Republic and Cape Verde.
Cape Verde.
Wow.
It's not Verde. It is Verde. Okay. Right.
Then the matchup everyone expected, Panama and Curacao.
Uh-huh. Curacao was vibes. And it is Panama moving through
Panama is
in
through.
that matchup. All right. Man, this is going to be the weirdest. Like, I feel like every major nation in this tournament is like done now.
Brazil, England,
Tails.
So Ghana is through.
On their way to round of 16. All right, here we go. Spain and Algeria. This one could get messy. Spain is
through.
on.
They're like the only big nation left.
I can't believe with all their talented players and Lamine Yamal, the bright superstar he is, it all just comes down to a coin flip. This is actually how these matches are decided in real time. This is what FIFA does.
When the script is in, this is what we're talking about. This is what they're doing.
Yeah, it's just what is the coin? The coin decides. And the coin decides that Switzerland is moving through against Australia. Can't believe we didn't beat those guys in the group stage. What a shame.
Wow.
What a shame. South Korea is beating Iran.
All right.
Or Iran.
Iran.
Isn't that a Midwest thing? Iran.
Yes, I think it is.
Tails. Uruguay.
Oh, Argentina.
No more for Messi. No. All right, let's see. Heads.
Turkey. Belgium's out too. Wow, this is
getting messy. This is not.
This is not good.
Not great.
This is horrible.
We got heads. Canada.
Canada is through. Canada's gonna win this thing.
They would, especially on our show. Oh boy. Here we go. All right, tails. Paraguay.
All right, Dave.
Oh boy.
Does the Scottish team have it in them to get to a quarterfinal?
Heads.
Yeah, Scotland's into the quarterfinals.
Yeah. All right, Dave. We're hanging on Scotland now.
Let's go, Scotland.
I don't have a horse in the race anymore, so now I'm just. Heads. Looks like South Africa.
Yeah, because that's what everyone predicted. Scotland versus South Africa in the quarterfinals.
Let's go. All right. All right, we got tails. We got Ivory Coast.
Wow. This is
moving through the quarters. All I'm saying is Tyler Terrence is going to have a ball call in these games, man. This is going to be wild.
That's true. That is true.
Panama's moving through to the next round to take on Ivory Coast. Living on that Nations League dub over the U.S., tell you what. Tails. Spain.
Spain's still hanging around.
See, this is the only predictable, somewhat realistic part of this simulation right now is that Spain is into the quarters. That's it.
Oh, I forgot France got knocked out. I was like, where are the French?
Yeah.
Man, what's going on here?
I don't know. This is weird. Did they even make it through the group? They made it through the group.
Yeah,
right?
they got knocked out by Japan.
Okay. Heads, Switzerland.
Okay, I can see that.
All right. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. All right, we got tails. Turkey.
Okay.
Man, turns out our group was a lot better than what we thought it was. We're actually in the group of death right now, believe it or not.
Canada's gonna get through.
Paraguay
is through. Okay.
Canada to go to the quarters.
All right, Dave. Could we get the Scots in the semis?
Woo! Oh man. This is actually a lot of pressure on this coin flip. This one is actually. All right, here we go, Dave. Yeah!
Yes, they're in the semis.
Yeah!
Scots are in the semis. Let's go.
They take our land, but they can't take our freedom. All right, heads. Ivory Coast
and Scotland. Yeah, everyone predicted that.
Semis. All right, let's see if Spain can maintain a level of realism with everything that we're doing here. Nope, that's a bad flip. Hold on, we'll do that again. And it looks like Spain is
Spain is the only realistic team that is still left in this.
The last remaining humanly possible team. Tails, Paraguay. Shock the world. Look at these guys.
All right, Dave. Can the Scots get to the finals?
Scotland and Ivory Coast. It's 2026. I believe it. I mean, there's just so many random things that go on now. You never know. Scotland is heading through.
Yes! Scotland's in the finals.
Woo!
Scotland is in the final.
Ah!
Spain
Rip my
or
shirt off.
Paraguay.
Woo! All right, Dave. Here's the big one. They're facing off against Spain.
Spain versus
2026
Scotland. Is John
World Cup
McGinn
final.
going to be the man that takes the Scots to a World Cup championship over England before England could do it this century?
We don't need 90 minutes. We got the quarter. The quarter decides all. Spain wins the 2026 World Cup.
Ah.
Warm the buses, Dave. It's all right. Hey, you made a run, all right? You had all the fried food. You had a great time. We loved having you.
Wow.
But Lamine Yamal.
Lamine Yamal got it done. That pisses off two people. That pisses off Fabian because he never wants to see Lamine Yamal ever win. And obviously Dave. He says Dave would lose it and Mel Gibson and have Mel Gibson as Braveheart. Yes. Mel Gibson also would have lost it.
And Lamine Yamal in Spain maintain the only realistic thing that happened in that entire simulation, and that is they win the World Cup. Everything else outside of that, including the U.S. men's national team, not even making it through the group. I did not expect the simulation to go quite that way. I asked AI this morning just to double check, just to see what, if we could get a different result. And they said quarters, but man, so tough one, Dave. Sorry, brother. But,
I don't even know if Dave's in the chat because he hasn't commented at all, or he was just like, he was on the edge of his seat, biting his fingernails, and now is throwing his phone at his computer because the Scots didn't win the World Cup on the simulation.
He's actively crashing out right now. Oh, that's awesome. Well, there you have it. The official simulated 2026 World Cup. Spain v Scotland in the World Cup. I was actually maybe hoping for a little bit of a ridiculous one because then we could advertise Cape Verde is going to end up winning the World Cup. But, we'll put that one up on our social media. Let's take a step aside, though, when we come back. Let's talk about some of the old heads into their last World Cup. Is there one left for any of these superstars? We'll mention that coming up next. We'll also get into the Chris Richards side when it comes to the U.S. men's national team. But all that and more coming up here on Inside the Game.
Welcome to the National Soccer Network, your home for soccer. One destination, every match, every moment. Built for players, powered by passion. Live games, highlights, and more each and every day. Only on the National Soccer Network.
So the dream behind Irene's was simply to be a place where the community could come and gather. This is my hometown, we're raising our family here, and we just want to be a space where people can come together as a community and share a great meal. We've got golf simulators, we got pinball, live music, trivia nights, but we also have fresh, always homemade, locally sourced food, and we serve it with a sense of Gemütlichkeit. This is a German word that conveys a sense of warmth and coziness and belonging. We're excited to show off how we're growing and that this is the place to be.
Number 299 rolls along Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler, Ryan Glinsky. After Spain just narrowly edged out Scotland for the 2026 World Cup, let's get into Our next talking point here in hour number 1.
Real quick,
You got a
couple
comment?
questions, or not questions, comments. Fabian, imagine if England beat the U.S., we only draw with them, so they would not beat us. We only draw with England for whatever reason. France, Caden says France was horrible last night. They played Northern Ireland, and France struggled a little bit. Okay, interesting. And Olise was class yesterday with a hat trick. You guys will have to answer this question. Is Olise worth $200 million? That's just what I'll have to ask, because that is reportedly the fee to get that man is like 200 to 250 million. But yeah, no. Mbappe couldn't hit a barn door. I would say, Caden, the French will be good. They have enough players. They were just in a friendly. They'll be good. They'll turn up once they play Cape Verde or whoever it is that they play in the group.
Yeah. And, the thing is, we're going to get some upsets. Like, that's the part about, like, even the simulation that we just did is, like, yeah, it's ridiculous, but there are going to be some big nations.
It's not going to be that ridiculous, but there's definitely going to be one or two.
Right. And the reality is that if you do expand the the World Cup, like, you're going to get more odds and ends than what you would normally get in a regular format. Doesn't mean that, like, Haiti's going to go play in the semis, but you could have some weird things that happen. You never know. These are sides that the element of surprise is something that always kind of fascinates me in sports, because if you've never played against someone, you don't know how to play against them. And even if they're, like, not quite to your level, you can still get the best of someone if you've never seen them before. That's why, like, even when Tarek came back, and I know that this is obviously apples and oranges, but, like, whenever you get rehab or sometimes in the minor leagues, it's like, well, they're on their way back, but they've never faced this group of guys, and they've never faced him. So it's like everybody kind of starts with a fresh slate, as opposed to, maybe a side or a country that you're normally used to playing. So I don't know. Weird stuff may happen. But talking about some of the old heads into potentially their last World Cup. And I know we were asking the question, will any of them win another one? I wanted to rephrase that a little bit, and I'll ask you, which one of the old heads do you think could win a World Cup on their way out? Which one of the aging superstars do you think is most likely to hoist one at the very end?
I would probably say,
I guess,
is it because we could classify Harry Kane, because he is 32, and I don't think he'll get to this level. I don't think he'll be at that level in 4 years. But it has to be Ronaldo. Ronaldo has to be the old players. He's got to have the best chance, because I think Portugal, out of all the teams, Croatia, the Dutch, Brazil, Egypt, Belgium, Senegal, Korea, it has to be Portugal, because I think that they are a dark horse team and they could 100% win this thing. Do I see them winning it? I don't, but I think they have the best chance out of all of them. They have a very good team. You've got Bruno Fernandes. You have a wonderful midfield, João Neves. I just pictured him, Vitinha. And then you have still Rafael Leao. As long as he is not punching anybody, he should be pretty good to go. Then they have the backup striker for PSG. I'm blanking on his name, Ramos. So they have options, and I think this Portuguese team is actually pretty good. And when you look at their group here, I believe that they have a favorable draw for the most part, and they do, with Congo, Uzbekistan, and Colombia, which would put them as a number 1 seed and probably taking on a 3 seed in the round of 32, which gives you a favorable in the round of 16. So you don't truly have a path with like playing a super difficult nation, I guess. But I think for the most part, it has to be Portugal. If I look at the rest, I mean, Belgium, KDB, I would love to say that, but they always just choke all the time. No matter what happens. The Dutch are good, but I don't think they're that good. Croatia, I think their best chance of obviously winning a World Cup was 2018, but they always show up for whatever reason. I don't know why. They made it to the semifinals, at least I know, in the last 2 World Cups. In 2018, they made the final. 2022, they lost to Argentina in the semis. Brazil, I think, is going to flame out relatively early. I don't see Neymar doing it. Egypt just does not have the quality for it. England, I could see Harry Kane delivering, but Again, it's England. They always choke in the big moments. That's just the reality of it. Sadio Mane, I don't see winning with Senegal. Good player, and Heung-min Son, same thing. Like I think Korea is a good side. I think they are a good bunch, but I just don't see really anyone else winning it besides Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo. And I'll have what you have to say, and then maybe we can get into, does this hurt the GOAT conversation? Does this, if he wins a World Cup, where does the GOAT conversation go with it? So, but no, I would say Portugal for sure.
Listen, all I'll say is that they're neck and neck in terms of the betting odds, Argentina and Portugal. When you look at the outright betting market right now, you have Spain, the implied probability at 18.2%. They're plus 450 betting odds to win it. You have France at plus 470. You have England at plus 650, Brazil 850, and Portugal, which I think, honestly, personally, I think Portugal should be ahead of Brazil. So I think they should be a top 4 betting favorite. But again, this is, the odds are beyond what I expect. But no, the spine of the team is filled with players that are Champions League winners. It's one of the deepest squads, as we know, in terms of international, teams, international talent. They're one of the deepest rosters in world football. And the reality is that, while Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm sure at times could be the focal point of the attack, he doesn't need to be anymore. At this juncture in his career, he doesn't need to be the guy as much. He can just be a supporting piece on a country that has it so well put together that, yeah, they are considered one of the favorites. I would say a top 5 favorite. They should be comfortably in that top 5. And so, yeah, I think Ronaldo is of the aging superstars. I think, there's Sadio Mane. Yeah, but I don't think Senegal has a chance of winning. Heung-min Son. I think South Korea is a very fun team, but I don't think they're necessarily going to be hoisting a trophy at the very end. Harry Kane. England has to do something to just show me signs of life. They got to show me something special, because they're boring, and frankly, they just don't execute in World Cups, and we know this. And it's frustrating for the English to hear us say this on the podcast, but they just haven't shown me a whole lot, at least not in my lifetime. Neymar, Brazil
you got to date
doesn't
back
excite.
to the 60s for that.
Yeah, Brazil doesn't excite, man. The version of Brazilian football that we see now versus where it was, even like so much as like a decade ago, like it's just it's not the same Brazil that we're used to seeing, unfortunately, because I think when Brazil's playing at the top of their game, I think that's when football kind of separates itself, soccer, in other words. But Brazil isn't what they used to be. So there's a lot of names on here of players who are probably going to make runs and are probably going to have great World Cups, but nobody in terms of, you can be the guy, but more than likely you're not going to be the guy. You're getting not a free ride, but you're just a supporting piece. But if he does win it, Ronaldo, yeah, I think that completely changes the GOAT conversation 100%. I think it sets up a really fun storyline that them and Argentina are kind of right here when we look at the probabilities of winning the World Cup.
And there's a lot of projections that I think have them play, if they win whatever, I think they could face off in the quarters. I think based on the projections. But I think when it comes to, Fabian thinks N'Golo Kante on France. He's 35, will be in a short list of people to have 2 World Cups. Yeah, that N'Golo Kante, he's like one of the most like unhateable guys in all of soccer. Just always has a smile on his face, never says a word, just balls. That's all he does. But if let's say Portugal were to win a World Cup, it would have to depend on what it would look like for Ronaldo. Is he a player that sits on the bench? If Ronaldo's there and he just sits on the bench and, doesn't do anything, I don't think it really moves the needle for me in terms of the GOAT conversation, because Messi on the other side he scored 2 goals in the World Cup final. And I guess if you want to count his PK that he took as well, he put in the back of the net as well. So he found the back of the net 3 times in that World Cup final. And he was dominant all tournament long, from outside of the Saudi Arabia game. That was a crazy game, man. That is that was insane what happened in that one. But Messi delivered time and time again. Like I think he had 7 goals or 8 goals, whatever it was. Like he was really good.
Yep.
And for the most part, I mean, I don't want to say carried, but he kind of carried the team a little bit in certain aspects of the game. So again, if Ronaldo were to play and score goals and contribute and put the team on his back, I could say it changes. But if it looks like what it did in 2022 in terms of Ronaldo, then I don't see it. But the biggest thing is for Portugal, which is like, how do you manage Cristiano Ronaldo? He's the greatest player in your country's history, probably ever will be. He's a top 2 player of all time. He has not gotten, I don't think he's ever gotten to a World Cup semis. I think he's only ever gotten to a World Cup quarters. Maybe he did it in his first try. I don't know. He's won I think 2 Euros, but outside of that, a couple Nations League, but outside of that, has not truly done anything in the World Cup stage. So it's how do you manage this guy? And some players with massive egos, that could become a detriment to the team. So curious to see how Roberto Martinez manages it. And I also don't know if Portugal, these players rally around Ronaldo the way that the Argentina players do with Messi. So curious to see how that all gets on.
I think he has to contribute. There's no room in this for him to not contribute at all, then win it, and then it changes the conversation. Now, you know that Ronaldo fans are going to take any opportunity to say, hey, well, he has won, regardless of what he did. He could have been on the bench. He could have been in the stands eating a hot dog. It doesn't quite matter. He was there. They won it. So for some people, that's automatically going to change things. But in my personal opinion, yes, he has to score. He has to contribute. He has to be somewhat of a viable option. And I would even put it, as far as to say, like, if they win it, he has to have a moment of brilliance in that World Cup final, at least one, whatever it looks like. You have to leave your print, your paw print on it, if you will. And so I think if Ronaldo does that, then we're looking at, hey, maybe the conversation changes a little bit now. And maybe all those other stats that we talk about actually mean a little bit more, right? Because this is where we get lost when it comes to the whole MJ and LeBron debate. Because I can sit here and tell you until I'm blue in the face, hey, LeBron James has the most assists in NBA history, and he has the most points in NBA history, and he has all of these other things, and you're going to sit up, that you're going to go, well, 6 for 6. So, like, all the other stats, if Bron had more championships, or if he was equal to MJ in championships, all the other stats would mean a little bit more in the grand conversation of all of it. But what I will say is that I would like to see Neymar win one. That'd be cool to see Neymar finish his career off with one.
I wouldn't mind. The quick correction on my end is Caden says Ronaldo won 1 Euro, lost in the final to Greece in 2004. Okay, I thought, he made a final. But he didn't even play in 2016. The final was all Di Maria, Fabian. Messi scored 2 goals. That's what I'm gonna say. Di Maria was not on the field during extra time. I'm just saying. But I think you're right though. I wouldn't mind seeing Neymar win it because I feel like Neymar is one of the most hated players of all time for legitimately no reason. Like I don't know why. I
don't get the disrespect. Yeah.
Neymar is one of those players that has to constantly live up to the R9s of the world, the Roberto Carloses, the Pelés, the Ronaldinhos, all those type of players. And I mean, Brazil has a rich history and Brazil has a right to have those types of expectations. But in 2014, Neymar was not on the field during 7-1. He got hurt. 2018, I don't know who they lost to, but they didn't have the best of showing. In 2022, they lost to a very good Belgium side. So Neymar, and then obviously everyone hates on him since he left Barcelona to try to do his own thing at PSG. And I mean, I can't hate on anyone for trying to do their own thing and try to carry their own team on their own back, but Neymar is a solid player. He's one of the most hated players of all time, and I think he's a good player. I don't understand the hate on Neymar all the time. Is it because of the way he left Barcelona to try to go to PSG and then obviously kind of fighting with the Federation a little bit from 2022 to now? But guess what? He's now on the roster. Neymar is a very good player. He's one of the best players from this era of soccer and world soccer. Neymar, I'm not tolerating this Neymar hate, man. Does he flop a lot? Sure. But you know what?
Yeah.
He's a good player.
Yeah. Well, and the ultimate equalizer is injuries and health. Like I don't think people realize like the greatest, what could have been the greatest in any given sport. Ask yourself who could have been the greatest if not for injuries, because there's at least a few. Right? I can think about any sport in my mind. I'm like, well, yeah, that player, he just simply couldn't stay healthy. And for Neymar, because of the level of expectations that he's had in his career, which is you are going to live up to the standards of, the greats in our game, the Ronaldos, the Messis, what everybody expected of him in his career. It's really hard to do that when you miss nearly like 1,400 days and 250 matches across your career because of injuries. I mean, just look at it. Like 2014 World Cup, fractured a vertebrae rather in his back.
Yeah, that was a scary
injury.
injury.
Metatarsal muscle in 2018, ankle 2019, ankle 2021. In the World Cup, ankle 2022, ACL and meniscus in 2023, and then his knee and his calf issues that he's had the last 2 years. I mean, it's one of the things in sports that unfortunately you just can't get away from. And so if he underperformed, you realize he's also been injured a good portion of his career.
Realize
so that's where I don't really,
He is also the nation's leading goal scorer, right? Like for national team,
yes.
And he's the second most capped player, I believe. I think. Could be wrong on that. But he's at least in the top three. But this guy he's also delivered you a gold medal, which you guys have never done ever prior to the 2016 Olympics, I think. I know it's the Olympics, but it's still your home soil, and you deliver with a young squad a gold medal at home.
I'm curious, though. Is this more social media hate for Neymar, or is this actual hate? Because I've watched the way he's received at matches in the kit in Brazil. I mean, the people love him. So like, where are these just like the computer warriors? I think it's
a little bit of both. And I also think when you haven't won a champ or a World Cup since 2002, 2002, and again, this is the guy that's supposed, and like you think of every Brazilian great. Pele, Ronaldinho, R9, Roberto Carlos. Those guys have World Cups. Neymar is like of this generation is after 2010, he took this generation of these next 12 years now as the guy, and he does not have a World Cup. So that's always going to be a knock on him, and especially and I also think when you're a nation like Brazil who has had countless World Cups and has won damn near every decade besides the 2010s, that you expect to win a World Cup within like 3 tries, and that hasn't happened in over 2 decades. So I think that there's like a sense of expectation. Like I kind of feel of it like, again, I don't want to necessarily say this is the best example, but like you think of like the Yankees or something, and you think of all their greats and how many World Series they have, and all the greats from the Babe to Derek Jeter to all the guys in between. And then let's just say for argument's sake here today, Aaron Judge just stays a Yankee forever, doesn't win a World Series ever. And that's going to be a big knock on him. And maybe the Yankees don't view him the same way as they do their other greats, just because it's the Yankees. Like they have high expectations, and that's winning things. And when you don't win, obviously, winning is the greatest equalizer to everything in life. If you don't win, regardless of how well you do, you're not going to be remembered all the time. And a nation that lives and breathes the game, I mean, they're going to get on you as quickly as possible, and they expect to win stuff. So I think that's where it comes from. Like Messi got a lot of hate after 2020 Copa America. The dude never won anything, and he was the greatest player of all time, was hated for a little bit by his own nation and his own federation, and he was fighting with it. Then guess what Messi did? Won a Copa America, won a World Cup, won another Copa America. Probably not going to win it this year, but he delivered 3 straight international trophies, which only one other team has ever done in 3 straight tries, which is 2008 to 2012 Spain.
Yeah, and just like hating on an individual player in a team sport has always struck me as weird too. But from an individual brilliance perspective, you also have to understand, though, I mean, I guess if you're Neymar, like that pressure is going to be on your shoulders. And this is why like certain guys talk about like, oh, it's a privilege to have the pressure. Yeah, because they know you're the guy. Like that's why Neymar gets the pressure on his shoulders that he gets, because they know he's the guy. The only reason why I bring up the injury issues and the injury history is because I just want people to acknowledge that it's tough to be the guy when you're not on the pitch. And there have been segments of his career where he has been largely ineffective because of injuries. And so when I think about 2026 and what this World Cup is going to look like, you had an injury in 2018 in the World Cup. You had an injury in 2022 in the World Cup. What is like 2026 might be your last shot. And if we're talking about, like last chance you over here, like this is your last legitimate opportunity to go win a World Cup. If you're Neymar, the biggest talking point for me going into this, and I guess we can point at different ones for all the different players, he's got to stay healthy. He just has to stay healthy, and he has to stay available. And so, but it is, much like Pulisic in our country, he's naturally the most talented player. From a statistical perspective, I know he's not Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey. And I know people want to hang on to that generation of USA Soccer because we haven't seen what this team has done yet. We'll see it this week, but we haven't seen it yet. But they hold on to it. But Christian Pulisic himself is the most talented, naturalized player we've ever seen come from the United States. And of course he's going to get all the pressure on his shoulders.
Yeah,
we talked about it. Like, you have to expect it.
Yeah, I think Pulisic is a good example. Probably not on the same level and the same pedigree as Brazil and Neymar, obviously.
Vein.
But
no. Yeah,
I don't know if Neymar is the most talented player that Brazil's ever produced, but maybe he is. Maybe that'll get people pissed off that Neymar is the most talented player that Brazil has ever produced. But again, you look at Christian Pulisic's situation. He is the most talented player that the USA, on a skill-wise, has probably ever produced up to this point. He's more skilled. Yeah. He's better. He's a better player than Dempsey and Donovan. The reason why Dempsey and Donovan were so effective and they were so good is because they tried super hard and they were not going to let anything stop them. They were skilled players, don't get me wrong, but if you look at a lot of Dempsey's goals, like ever, it's just a lot of, right spot, right time, hustling. I mean, he scored some really impressive goals, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them are just trying super hard. Like the goal that Pulisic put his you-know-what down the line, that's a Clint Dempsey goal right there. That's why so many people loved that goal, because that reminded them of the old U.S. men's national team. And why does Pulisic get so much hate all the time? Is because we have such high expectations for a guy, because when he was coming up, we never saw. I remember watching his debut when Jurgen Klinsmann was still the manager, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, teenager for Dortmund? We have one of those? Like, since when? And like Dortmund is one of those one of those places where it's like you need to have like that produces players. Like, you have to be good to be there. Like, they produce academy talent after academy talent year after year. Fabian says Ronaldinho, Romario, Bebeto, Ronaldo were better than Neymar. I don't know.
No, here's the thing. I think Ronaldinho was likable. I think Neymar is a little bit more abrasive. I think the persona of Neymar is probably what people don't like very much. And it's really hard when you're compared to the person across the aisle, right? Like, and I even said this, I said the same thing about like MJ and LeBron. Like, MJ grew up in an era where there was no social media. Like, the way the world moves now, like, you had journalism, you have print journalism, and you have TV, and that's it. Like, if you want to hear from the guy, that's where you're going to hear from. And in those situations, in those environments, of
no
course
podcasts. Podcasts weren't a thing.
Yeah. Like, you're media trained. Like, of course you're just going to give straight answers, and then you're going to act the way that you normally act in private. But people don't really hear about that unless you're written about in the news, right? Whereas LeBron, I mean, he's on podcasts, he's Hollywood, right? Like, all the on-court antics with the different things. I know we talked about ushering in the era of flopping and yada yada, right? But these are all things that we didn't see from MJ. And so
I just wanted to smoke cigars.
Like, well, Ronaldinho was a more likable character, and so that's why people look at Neymar and they're like, the hate really kind of stems from all that. Because I don't think it comes from a talent perspective. And yeah, obviously he hasn't won a World Cup. It's true. He's had multiple opportunities to do so, and he hasn't.
But when I looked at Pulisic and I found out that we have a teenager in Dortmund, I'm like, that changes everything, because we've had players in Europe, but they were not brought in that way. They were brought in because they played at college, made their name a little bit with, I think Donovan technically was through Leverkusen. I think, could be wrong on that. But like Dempsey was Furman, made his way to the Revolution. He got drafted and then was like, all right, I'm going to get picked up by a club in England, which was Fulham. But Pulisic and McKennie and Adams, Tim Weah, Josh Sargent, these are academy kids that went through the academy, and now all of a sudden, like, they might have a shot at the first team. And Pulisic then obviously is doing what he's doing. So obviously, when we have high expectations for it, it automatically means like we're gonna hate on you. But if we look at like Bryce Underwood, for example, if Bryce Underwood did not have $4 million to his name before he took a snap in Ann Arbor, I don't think we would be hating on him as much as people hate on him now, because you put yourself in that spot to A, accept the money, 2, go to Cedar Point or whatever it was and say, I can take over the whole state of Ohio, and then go on the Rich Eisen show and say they have never seen a freshman like me. Those things happen. I'm not saying Pulisic and Neymar say those things, but those certain expectations, kind of, help get raised because you have expectations, which means you automatically hate the guy if he doesn't deliver up to those expectations. Maybe if Underwood didn't have that money, didn't say those things, and threw for 11 touchdowns, we'd be like, oh, he's just a true freshman. It's like, look at Dante Moore's numbers as a true freshman, but Dante Moore didn't say those things. And then you look at him now.
Yep.
Bypass the Jets for another year at Oregon.
The expectations will always be there for Neymar, but is the hate too much? I don't know. But anyways,
Fabian's got some intel on the Neymar thing, I guess. They had high expectations of Neymar when Kaká, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Robinho left the national team, and they put him as the second coming of Jesus, and he has not produced. That's what happened. I have strong Brazilian ties and go to Brazil 3 times a year. And when they had that big loss to Germany, that was the nail in the coffin. But Fabian, he wasn't on the field for it. He had his vertebrae. He wasn't even in the stadium.
Yeah, he wasn't.
His vertebrae, just snapped. Like, that's not on Neymar. Like, they didn't even have Neymar or Thiago Silva on the field that night.
Yeah.
It was, here, let's.
You can't hold it against a player that they got hurt. Like, I don't, like, that's not, yes, you could say, like, disappointing, but, like, how am I going to hate on a guy who gets hurt?
So, again, this starting 11 just isn't that good. Looking at it, Julio Cesar, Maiken, I don't know, David Luiz, Dante, Marcelo, Luis Gustavo, Fernandinho, Oscar, Hulk, Bernard, Fred. That team's just not that good. And then you're going up against Neuer, Lahm, Boateng, Hummels, Howardez, Khedira, Cruz, Schweinsteiger, Mueller, Miroslav Klose, who broke the most World Cup goals in a career, and Mesut Ozil. You can't put that on Neymar. He wasn't even there. Oh, okay. Fabian's not disagreeing with us. He's just saying Brazilians don't understand that. Well, tell your Brazilian friends to understand it then, because you cannot put that on Neymar.
Yeah.
You can't.
That's not right.
It's like let's see here.
It's like putting it on Steph Curry that they lost to the Raptors on the way to the Raptors winning their one and only NBA championship.
You'd say KD because Curry was there. It was KD who got hurt.
Oh, KD that got hurt.
KD got hurt, and then Clay got hurt, and then it was just Curry and Draymond and whoever else they had out there. But yeah, because KD blew out his Achilles, and then like the next game, Klay Thompson tore his ACL or something. It was, and then I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, this series is over. There's no way they can't do this without Klay and KD.
Yep. Or like when Florida State lost their starting quarterback before the when they
Jordan
finished
Travis.
the season undefeated.
That was dumb though that they left him out of the playoff.
That was to this day I still think that's the
like that.
dumbest.
They had a very good defense. That defense. Bro,
in no other
I have
league in
better
the world can you win.
conversations with my 8-year-old. Well, I'm glad that we have some brains here. We have good soccer minds here on the National Soccer Network.
Oh man. But yeah, man, I mean, if you win every single game in a season, you should be allowed to play in the playoffs. I don't care who you are or what you did or whatever, but you know, it's funny because in hindsight, people are like, "Oh, you just don't want to play Alabama." But funny how that worked out. But anyways,
hey,
you know,
as a Michigan fan, I'm completely fine with how it all panned out.
yeah, exactly. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Chris Richards. He's back to working out, a full participant in yesterday's USMNT training. Good to see him on his way back. I know we talked a little bit
how stupid it is, and the
NCAA
being stupid.
We'll get into sports betting as well.
Now, that is a dumb group of people.
Yeah, very dumb. But also multiple reports that I know we talked about this before, and I know you said you potentially like the fit of him on the Pistons, but Kyrie could be a good suitor for Detroit. We've talked about that a few different times. I've seen a few different reports. Talk about all that and more coming up next here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Back live on Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler and Ryan Glinsky. Well, some good news on the U.S. men's national team front in that conversation as we get closer to the World Cup. Again, just a couple of days away. Things are going to get busy and fast here on the National Soccer Network. But Chris Richards back to being a full participant in yesterday's U.S. men's national team training. Ryan, as we talked about, I mean, getting him back for this defense is massive because we've already seen for a couple of different reasons. For the main reason, though, that we've already seen that the structure of this club over the last two matches they've had, including the Germany game, which I talked about in a recap yesterday of how I thought they responded really well to that early goal by Kai Havertz. I was really surprised by their composure and the way that they responded to that moment. Getting Chris Richards back on the back line of this team is massively important. And, for a couple of different reasons. I think for the energy, I think for the charisma, I think for what he provides in terms of being a leader. And again, we already mentioned the consistency part of this and just how much of a consistent force he has been. If you thought we looked good without him, now imagine adding his legs back to that back line. We understand that, Tim Ream's a little bit older and he can't necessarily hang with some of these guys. But Chris Richards is really, and you mentioned this, and I thought it was brilliant when you said it because the way you described it was really accurate in my opinion. The backbone of this team, the spine of this team. And so, listen, we're going to have some players that are going to play dinged up. We're going to have some players that aren't necessarily at full health. And when you bring in the expanded format part of this, what used to be a marathon before, but more of that 800-meter sprint that we talk about when we always refer to the USL 2 season. That's what the World Cup felt like. This has turned into more of a marathon now, because you do have the added teams, because you do have an added round, right? So you have more opportunities to get hurt. But Chris Richards is tough. We've seen him fight through injuries at Crystal Palace. He's always been available, and that's really been his superpower, whether it be on the club side, whether it be on the national side. You know what you're getting out of Chris Richards, and you know you're more times than not going to get a good chunk of the match out of him, and consistency at the same exact time too. So anyways, all that to be said, he looked good. He looked healthy. It looks as if we are going to have a fully healthy, again, as fully healthy as we can, club nation going into the World Cup. And that, in my mind, is a good sign.
Yeah, I agree. And there's just a couple players that you really need for this U.S. men's national team in this World Cup. And Chris Richards, I think, is at the top of that list. I think Richards, McKennie are at the top, near the top of the list. I still think McKennie is the most important player on this team. I'd probably say Pulisic 2, and then Richards probably 3. Yeah, I'd probably go with that. And you need him. He's had a really good club season with Crystal Palace this past year. He has a Conference League championship now as well, winning a trophy in Europe. Again, Crystal Palace, not the best of performances in the league this year, but again, he's still able to win a European trophy, which most clubs still aren't able to do. Shout out my team, Arsenal, for just not doing that either. Stupid. But anyway, again, we need him out there because if I look at the center back options, and I think Chris Richards being out there could hide a couple of things. And I think that could hide potentially a little bit of a Miles Robinson. I thought he struggled at times in these last 2 games. And I also thought, back to Chris Richards thing at his time at Crystal Palace, I was very curious to see what it would look like post Mark Gahey at January, after January, because Gahey obviously went to Man City and then threw away the league against Everton and gifted us the league. So appreciate you, Mark Gahey. And I was like, okay, how is Chris Richards truly good, or is this just kind of something where, Mark Gahey was doing most of the heavy lifting and Richards kind of just was a success with that? Because I have seen that before in certain center back partnerships, and that was not the case. Chris Richards continued to play well at a very high level with Crystal Palace, continued to get it done, and, just played well week in, week out. And then now with the U.S. men's national team, I still thought Noah Kai Banks would have been a very nice fit alongside him. But now I look at it and think, well, okay, Noah Kai Banks will probably never represent the U.S. men's national team ever again. He's going to be a German at the next World Cup or the next couple of windows, which means USA, we still got to figure out our dual nats. That's still something we've got to figure out here. I would have rather have had maybe a Julian Hall or a Kevin Sullivan instead of a Alejandro Zendejas or something. I'm just saying we get those guys cap-tied, and now we don't have to worry about the dual national situation. But instead of playing Tristan Blackman, maybe in September we bring up Noah Kai Banks. Just saying. Just a little irritated about that. But Richards, I think he's going to sit in the middle of that back 3. He's going to orchestrate everything. He is going to dictate where everyone's positioning is. Tim Ream, I think his legs are a little bit gone. I feel like you're going to see Tim Ream play 60 minutes a game or so, and hopefully on the right side of Chris Richards, you're going to have I would hope a Mark McKenzie, maybe Miles Robinson comes in on that left side, or again, maybe as the game progresses and whatever the game shows, maybe you go back to a back 4, but just saying, I love that Chris Richards is back. I'm glad that torn ligaments mean like a sprained ankle in terms of English terms, because when you hear torn ligaments, that's something completely different here in the States, but I guess in England that's just a sprain. So I'm very curious at what a sprain means in England. Maybe that's like the arm is just falling off the body or something. I don't know. But happy with what has happened with Chris Richards. Glad that he's back in training. Again, all these players that you're going to see at this World Cup, there is not a 100% healthy player. They have some knocks. They have some nagging injury. Like, I know that there was an Arsenal player in Jurrien Timber that was going to try to get through to the World Cup, even though he had a growing injury. Found out he could not get through that injury. But again, happy that Chris Richards is going to be back fully healthy with us. And again, that only boosts our chances of getting to where we want this U.S. men's national team to go this year, which is a quarterfinal. So happy with what they've done here today, or with his progression in terms of his health. Happy with where they're at.
Yeah, and you can really tell how much Mauricio Pochettino kind of leans on Chris Richards in the position that he's into, in organizing this team and being the eyes of, and helping out Matt Freese as much as humanly possible, which is always the one thing that I think in past World Cups that the U.S. men's national team has had that maybe makes people a little bit comfortable going into 2026, and that is the goalkeeper conversation. We had Tim Howard for forever. Like, for whatever reason, the USA has always done a proficient job. Right, exactly. But the USA has always done a great job of, like, we've always had goalies. Like, whether it be hockey or whether it be soccer, like, for whatever reason, our country just produces goalies and goalkeepers. We've always been good at doing it.
Friedel, Guzan.
Exactly.
Howard, like, they always had studs for whatever reason.
And so I guess it makes sense for a country that, like, was not the greatest on the pitch, right? Like, you got to make more saves naturally.
Yeah, that's fair.
It always cracks me up when you see, like, some of these guys who have, like, like eye gouging amount of, like, saves in their careers, like in college. It's like, well, what did the team look like?
That's not necessarily a good thing.
Right.
Like, that's good for yourself, but if you have to make all those crazy saves, it's like,
it means that the guys in front of you are not keeping the ball away from the goal. So, but we've sorry. Ooh. Anyways, I'm back. We've always had good goalkeeping, but if we can't have an elite goalkeeper, which again, I have really enjoyed Matt Freese. The image of him winning the PK shootout in that Gold Cup run against, I think it was Costa Rica, whatever that they beat, great. Awesome. However, you're not what we've had. So who's going to take the pressure off of him the most? I feel like someone like Chris Richards would be. Yeah. And if there's anybody that's going to help do that, it's Chris Richards. So
yeah, and he feels like a guy that, at least from the outside looking in, that he, carries himself really well in terms of, his professionalism. And even talking to his club coach, I think of like a month ago or so, he's like, oh, he always carried himself that way when he was, at a young age. So that's something that's really cool. I'm glad that it's translating to the highest level of the game. And obviously him going to Bayern Munich and, him actually going to his agent and saying, like, I need more playing time, and not actually, like, dude, you're at Bayern Munich. You're going to win the Bundesliga every year. You're going to be in the running for the DFB Pokal probably every year. Probably going to make at least a semifinal of the Champions League every single year. But, like, he went to his agent and said, I'm not playing. Get me to Crystal Palace. And Crystal Palace obviously isn't the best spot to go to. But, hey, he's doing with the best that he can. And the most important thing for all of our USA players is they're playing. Like, it is one thing to get these players overseas and into Europe, but the most important thing is that as long as they're playing. If they are, I would rather see, like, just for an example here, let's say Chris Richards got bought by Manchester United. He plays like twice a month, but he goes to Crystal Palace, plays week in, week out for them. That's way more important than playing for Manchester United and sitting on the bench. Yeah, you get some street cred, and is like, yeah, man, I play for Manchester United. We got a Manchester United center back. But you get the game time. That's exactly what he's getting. Same thing with McKennie. Same thing with Pulisic. And, great to have Chris Richards back, because, man, did we need Chris Richards to be back and healthy for this World Cup.
Yep, we needed him. Yeah, for sure. So, anyways, that's a look at the U.S. men's national team, and I just think it's good that we are getting, because I know there were question marks about would Pulisic be healthy. He looks good to go. Like, we got everybody.
Yeah, he looks like
back
his old self
time.
a little bit.
Yeah,
he scored, so I'm saying, he scores one goal, dude. His whole emotions and everything changes. He's such an emotional player, man.
Exactly. And it's fine. It's fine to be an emotional player. Like, perfectly fine with me. It's just you hope to just catch him at a high.
Yeah.
And I hope that doesn't, like, it could take you away from doing the right things too. if you get too emotional, or, not that you don't want to be invested, but it's just this roller coaster when it comes to Christian Pulisic. Sometimes that was always a thing that really caught people, and I think grinded people's gears a little bit. But I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think this team will shock the hell out of everybody.
Oh,
I know. But with cool guy Greg Berhalter and a bunch of young 20-somethings, in the World Cup in 2022, when they drew against England and they had more than a few opportunities to win that match. And then they go play against the Netherlands. And frankly, I mean, they just got caught with their, their pants down, if you will, for lack of better terms. They got caught, right? This team, when we say leagues ahead of what they were in 2022, it's not even really all that close, because the form that we've seen them play with the last two matches, and I know they're friendlies, I get it, I know where the qualifying part comes in here. This is something that we're not used to really seeing all that much, which is the level that they have been playing at in those last two matches. I think they might shock the hell out of some people.
Oh,
I really do. I'm just saying. I don't know what that looks like. Don't ask me what that looks like. I think they might shock some people. I like, genuinely.
And I don't think you're crazy, because the way that the feeling I've gotten on the last couple of games is, I'm like, this looks a lot better than it normally has. And you mentioned a good point from 2022. Again, our group was Iran, who was good, Wales, who was not bad, and then England, who was the 1 seed. And let's not forget, in the Netherlands game, if Pulisic puts that goal away in the first 2-3 minutes or whatever it is, maybe the game completely changes for us, and maybe we get through. And that just seems to be our Achilles heel, and that hump that we just can't get over, which is get past the round of 16 into the final 8, into the quarterfinals. And we certainly had a chance in 2010 to do so. 2014, we were in the game. In 2022, we were into the game. So we've knocked down the door a handful of times. One of these times, we just got to bust down the door. If I can see this year in 2026, the Gunners get past that hump. If I can see the USA men's hockey team get over that hump. If I can see the Michigan basketball team get over that hump. And I swear to God, if I see the Knicks get over that hump, there is nothing that is telling me that the United States men's national team cannot get over that hump, because there's certainly quality. They've improved a ton, I think, since 2022, as much as people don't want to give them credit for. Our striking options were Josh Sargent, Ricardo Pepi, and Jesus Ferreira.
Yeah.
Balogun wasn't in the picture, which, when you corrected me on that, I was like, you're lying, dude. Balogun played, man. Balogun was in on that World Cup, and you were right. He was not. He was still sitting on the Arsenal bench at that time. Malik Tillman, who was brought in, that's an upgrade. Our back line, that's an upgrade. Goalkeeping situation, I think, is a little bit of the same. The Dave, you weren't there for the full simulation? Dave was not there for the full simulation. He goes, so Scotland got out of the group stages. How did it finish? Dave, I want you to rewind and see how far Scotland got. And then you tell me what you would do if they got to that certain stage. They've improved since 2022. I could see them making a little bit of a run. And at home, too, I could see them making a little bit of a run. And we talked about the culture they had at Soldier Field this past weekend. And if that shows up every game, because I know that there's still a couple thousand tickets remaining for at least that opening match on Friday, I'm just saying, I think they could make a little bit of noise. And if they make noise, oh boy, I don't know what soccer's really going to do in this country. It might explode. And then the world won't know
you know
what
they're
going to
say. You know what they're going to say, right? That it was fixed.
Oh, yeah. All the time they will.
Yes.
That's
like it was stolen. It's going to be a conspiracy. Like, of course, the one time they would ever do something notable in the World Cup, it would be in the United States. Like, that would be because we talk about VAR stuff every day. And these are like individual calls.
I can't wait for that.
Professional club matches right? And there's going to be like one close call in like if the U.S. does end up going deeper than we expect, there's going to be one close call and it's going to blow the top off the entire operation. Everything's just going to come crumbling down because it's a grand conspiracy to get the United States to win the World Cup.
Well, some people think it's already fixed just looking at the group.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, when they initially read all that off and they're like, yeah, here's the groups, I was like, ooh, okay. All right. I mean, I guess. I mean, I know like Turkey is going to give us some problems. We should beat Australia. I just hope they don't shock the hell out of everybody and beat us. But yeah. What do you got?
So I just do a quick what is it? Google search for, what did the other nation groups look like? South Africa got screwed. Uruguay, France, which that France team was not good, like at all. That France team sucked that year. They actually had a couple of bad things. Brazil, they got screwed too. Croatia, Mexico, Cameroon at that time was not bad. Let's see what because Russia made some noise. Russia, I think, made they at least made a quarterfinal, I'm pretty sure. What did Russia have? Okay, Russia got a little easy one as well. Russia had Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Uruguay. How far did Russia go in that World Cup? I'm pretty sure they made the quarters. I think. If
Russia's made it quarters? Really?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, because they beat Spain on PKs. I remember that one. Yeah, I forgot about that. They beat Spain on PKs in the round of 16. Then they lost on pens to Croatia. Dude, oh my God, I didn't realize how many penalty shootouts Croatia had. They shoot out in the round of 16, shoot out in the quarterfinals too, and then extra time. Jeez, they really Dave finally saw it. He says, I saw it. Well, what would you do if they made a World Cup final?
I wish I had like a Scottish, like a T-shirt or a jersey or something I could have thrown on, but
Qatar got Qatar. I guess. I mean, Qatar wasn't very good, but. Period. But Netherlands, Senegal, Ecuador. Yeah. So again, there's a little bit of a pattern you could maybe see with certain nations getting a little bit favorable draws in the World Cup. But hey, I'm not complaining. The U.S. fans aren't complaining. I mean, what did Mexico and Canada get in all this? Mexico got South Africa. Okay, Mexico got the benefit of the doubt, and Canada got the benefit. Okay, so all three of them got the benefit of the doubt. Sorry, I don't even want to hear it anymore. I don't want to hear it because all three nations got the benefit of the doubt, when in reality, all three probably should not have gotten the benefits of the doubt. So I'm just saying.
Yep. I guess that's what happens when you host,
Yeah.
But I guess that's why maybe we're getting a little pat on the back. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it's just a feeling. That's all. And I didn't go into either of those two matches with that same feeling.
I was like, oh God, we're going to get killed here.
Yeah, it felt different, especially after Kai Havertz and watching your reaction and your live reaction to that goal. I was like, yeah, this might be it.
Dude, when that ball was served in, I was like, that's a goal. Unless somehow Matt Freese makes the greatest save of his life. I'm like, that is a tap-in.
Yeah, and the one dude who like legitimately said the United States is not a country that you can just sneeze at anymore. And I think that is it's a high level of respect. I mean, that's from someone who competes at that level and is an international superstar. Like, so that should tell you something. And I don't think Kai Havertz isn't in the business of having to butter up his opponent if he doesn't think that they're worthy of something.
I don't think Kai Havertz speaks, like, period.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. So to get someone to say something like that matters. But anyways, it's just a feeling in my stomach. This team might shock the hell out of some people. Who knows? But let's take a break here on Inside the Game. We come back. Let's talk about sports gambling a little bit and the Brendan Sorsby situation, which just continues to play out and continues to get more and more weird.
The NCAA continues to amaze me.
They're kind of a yeah, they're messy. Also, it's just getting messy in general with the sports betting. We'll talk about that, and then if we have time, we'll talk about maybe Kyrie to the Pistons. Listen, I don't think there's anyone who's been more individually skilled in terms of what they can do with the basketball than Kyrie Irving. Arguably the best in history, just in terms of his handles. We'll talk about that and how he might be a good fit, and then question of the day as well. All that coming up next here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Inside the Game cooks along here on this, what day is it today?
Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday. Okay, yeah, there we go. By the way, I just sent you a picture of I was able to snap a photo with Tarek Skubal before the game when he was here over the weekend, and I saw someone on social media said he had Jimmy John's surgery, and that might be one of the funniest comments I've ever seen.
Hey, Jimmy John's is pretty good, man. Not gonna lie.
I love Jimmy John's. He's the best, man. But oh yeah, yep, big Chungus in the building, and he is as good as advertised. But let's get into the next part of this conversation. The Brendan Sorsby, the gambling situation. He will be allowed.
Hey, Indiana,
to play.
you guys had him. Just saying.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But give us the breakdown. Give us the lowdown of exactly what's going on with Brendan Sorsby and the NCAA.
The only way to get past the NCAA is find a regional judge, find a local judge that is somehow tied to your university, and that's exactly what this guy did. This guy found a Lubbock lawyer or judge from Texas Tech Law to have this court here. He apparently got an injunction, which I've never heard of that term before, ever. And he will now be allowed to play this upcoming season in the Texas Tech. Basically, I think he just kind of got a waiver to play in college football this upcoming season. The dude, I think, placed just around 4,000 bets across his 3 years with Indiana, Cincinnati, and hasn't gotten to Texas Tech yet, but in his 2 years of play, or in his 4 years, 3 years, whatever, of playing at those two stops, which he basically would have placed bets at Texas Tech too. We don't have to lie to ourselves about this, but he is allowed to play no matter what. And that is, how many bets did Sorsby place? He plays
looked like 9,000. 9,000 bets. Yeah, totaling $90,000.
So, wow. He made 29 bets at Indiana, including 40 on Indiana football games, which he was on the roster for. He placed additional 165 bets not in his own name at Cincinnati, but he did a lot of betting on baseball, I guess. I guess he would go to the Cincinnati Reds when he was at Cincinnati, and he just placed bets time after time. But the backlash is this guy is able to play this upcoming year. Oh my God, I didn't even read this one either. He also transferred at least $60,000 to two friends to cover bets made on his behalf. Wow, that's all right. I'll be your friend for a little bit, so Brendan. I'm fine with that. But this is where the backlash comes in from. So in 2024, former Iowa State quarterback Hunter Deckers was permanently banned from the NCAA after he was caught betting on Iowa State Cyclones games, including a 2020 matchup against Oklahoma State while he was on the roster. And I think the bets he placed were nowhere near what Sorsby, but he got banned for life. And now Brendan Sorsby is able to play. And it's a lot of BS because of what has happened, as I just mentioned, and that this dude was placing bets on his own team while he was on the roster. So that is where it becomes an issue. It has been reported already that Nebraska and Georgia will never play Texas Tech in football ever again, even though they're not even on anyone's schedule for the next 10 years. There has been reports that Big Ten officials will be meeting today to discuss this and never want to play Texas Tech again in sports. And I think the Big 12, I know Kansas State has at least mentioned that they don't want to play Texas Tech. But that is just something that is could potentially happen. And the NCAA just continues to amaze about how stupid they are sometimes.
Stupid. I would certainly say so. I think it sets a bad precedent for the NCAA to allow him to play, and I'll start with that. Like, you're showing that you're showing your weakness right now. You're showing that you are weak as an organization, because you can't find a way to put your foot down on something like this and make sure that he's not allowed to play anymore. Okay, so from an organizational perspective, this is a black eye, right? And it just gives you an idea of how many things slip through the cracks when it comes to the NCAA.
Hey, Nate, real quick. I just searched this up. Brendan Sorsby actually played. Remember that Michigan-Indiana football game when it was like downpouring in 2023 and like, Brendan Sorsby was a quarterback in that game. He threw 15 passes in that game. So that was also before the Connor Stallion situation came out. So just picture in like 3 years' time, what would happen? What was going on that field on that game? Brendan Sorsby placed $90,000 worth of bets. You got Connor Stallions on the other side stealing signs. Man, that is a game that you've got to go back to.
Man. What the hell? What's going on? Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to throw that in there. I thought it was funny.
No, you're good. No, they completely make sense. Well, and what's interesting is that you look at 90,000, you're like, oh my goodness, but 9,000 bets covering $90,000. That means roughly $10 a bet. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money, but he's been doing it for forever, right? So it's just, this is over a stretch of time, which obviously when you have access to more money, you can bet more money. But
he had a $5 billion NIL dollar deal.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I know guys that are throwing money on sports all the time. Now, mind you, it's only like $5 here or like a parlay or whatever have you, but the other side of this is, so I think the NCAA looks weak as an organization, right? And I can see why everyone is frustrated about how he's allowed to play, because it is, you're showing that you can't put your foot down. And that's not something that's new to the NCAA. And that's why I think the NCAA will be dead at some point, because no one respects them as an organization anymore. No one respects them as a governing body, because no one knows what the hell is going on. And
That's true. That is true.
The punishment for the crimes is never equal, right? Like, even as a Michigan fan, am I going to sit here and be like, well, yeah, they got a completely fair, reprimanded completely fairly. They got the fair penalty for what they did. No, I don't necessarily think it was fair. I don't think you vacate the championship, but I certainly think they probably could have done a little bit more than what they did. I would agree. Maybe a postseason ban or something for a year or two. I don't know. But and then all of a sudden it's like Michigan State's like, they bring the hammer down on them. It's like they haven't won a game in 3 years. Like, what? This doesn't make any sense. They just want to pick on the little guys. So anyways, I think it makes the NCAA look weak. However, on the other side of this, like, is it really all that damning? Like, if the majority of his gambling was done on baseball, and all the other bets when it comes to all the other teams. Now, if you're betting on your team, are you betting on you to throw like over a certain yardage amount? Like,
we don't know
is he throwing games because of his bets? Like, if that's the thing that they've been able to discover, that's a problem. He should never be allowed to play again. But if he's not throwing the games and he's not like doing the thing where like he intentionally like throws a ball out of bounds and he had a wide open wide receiver because he wants to hit the under on this or what have you. If that's not happening and he's just throwing money around just to try and make more money as he's playing, despite his NIL deal, you know, I think there are much worse things because technically, I mean, look at Jamison Williams. Like, he got in trouble for gambling. He got in trouble for gambling on the NCAA tournament. Like, that has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with the NFL. Like, I've always found that part weird because everybody does it. And so, you know, it's not like domestic abuse. It's not like he beat someone up. It's not like sexual assault. It's none of those things. And also keep in mind that when you advertise gambling in every other commercial, in every other thing that you do, like, this addiction thing is becoming widespread. He has an addiction. In my mind, it's no different than alcohol or weed or anything else that you could put in your system. Steroids, whatever it is, like he has an addiction. And so if you cure that addiction or you help him get over that, is he a danger to college football because of who he is as a person? You know, does he present some sort of threat to anybody else on the team? Not necessarily, but if you found that he is throwing games through his gambling, that's a completely different story. But my guess is they probably didn't find any of that because if they did, there ain't no way he'd be allowed to play right now.
So,
right?
All right, Nate, they did find stuff. So Sorsby, who appeared in 10 games and made 7 starts at Indiana in 2023, said he was unaware of an October 2022 bet on the under for Indiana quarterback passing yards or a September 2023 bet on the under for first half of the Hoosier football games. So the issue where this comes in is he has bet on games that he has been a part of, and that's what a lot of the issue comes from. Now, if you look at other bets, you know how I said he gave like $60,000 to some friends or whatever, those bets were mainly on, oh no, that's actually something completely different. So he spent $5,000 sent to his friends who placed bets on his behalf on the PGA Tour, the NBA, and the MLB, who apparently Sorsby does not recall the number of bets that were made for him. He did not wager on anything Texas Tech related. Again, that doesn't really matter because he hasn't played a snap yet for Texas Tech. But the issue that everyone has is he has bet on games that he's been a part of. And I just mentioned the Hunter Decker's Iowa State thing. And he got banned for that. But Sorsby placed bets on games that he was a part of. So what means that why can't he be banned for life? Is it because he has a $5 million NIL deal? Is it because Texas Tech has landman money and you don't want to lose their money and their fan base for college football playoff and Big 12 games? Is that it? Because you're right about the Michigan State thing. When it was Michigan State, they played ineligible guys, which I guess that has proven history that if you play ineligible guys, those 5 wins that MSU has accumulated over 3 years there really matter. But if you look at the Michigan thing, again, I don't think that the title should have been banned, but I think you're right. Maybe some scholarship limitations. Maybe they have to pay more hefty fines. Maybe they get banned from the CFP for a year or 2. I don't know. Yeah. But, I mean, Michigan got a slap on the wrist compared to what MSU did, but MSU was, I think, also provided the evidence, which mainly got so they didn't have to pay Mel Tucker with the $90 million or whatever it is that they owed him. But the issue is that this guy plays bets on his own game, and he's allowed to play. That's the issue that everyone has in all of this. And betting is, I mean, I could place a bet right now if I really wanted to. That's how easy this thing has become. is
Right.
being able to bet literally after probably, honestly, probably like 6 swipes or 6 taps of your fingers.
Is it fair that we're going to see one grand conspiracy when it comes to gambling a year? Like, this is going to be like an annual thing. Like, what's the biggest sports gambling conspiracy this year? Because of the accessibility to it. You know, like that's that. By the way, if they're giving you credits, that's not money. So stop. The free credits don't mean they're giving you free money. Okay, that's how they get you. That's how they get you started. Anyway, sorry, you were making a point there. You can go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's so easy and so accessible that you're right that we're gonna see some sort of issue like this every single year. And if you're maybe you don't, but if you're a smaller I'm saying a smaller school quarterback. I mean, you just saw what was laid out for you according to a Power 4 quarterback. What's stopping you from placing these bets? Because obviously you're not making $5 million, $1 million, probably not even 6 figures. If you're a mid-major quarterback, you're probably making, I don't know, 10 grand, 20 grand. I don't know. But what's stopping you from making a little extra bucks? If that guy can place bets on his own game, and again, I also don't know if the NCAA truly pays attention to the little guys. I'm just saying. But if a Power 4 quarterback can get away with it, what's stopping a smaller quarterback? Because clearly he was at a smaller school. I mean, Indiana at the time was a very small school in football, and Cincinnati was a small school for football. He didn't get in trouble. So I don't know. There's nothing stopping anyone at this point.
That is the part about the gambling thing that is just, it is most damning and is also most alarming, is that there are no checks and balances.
No, it's
when it comes to sports gambling.
So like it's like refereeing a soccer game, dude. It's like, well, it's up to the referee, it's up to the judge. Like, this has been said before. Yeah, that was called a foul before, but like this ref might not think that. So it's I don't know, it's confusing.
I mean, it's like, I mean, like there's certain things that have been legalized that, you used to have to go through, different means of getting it. Like it is, it used to be just harder to do shady stuff.
Yeah.
It's easy to do shady stuff now. I don't care like what it is in life. Like you want to get into some problems. There's a way of getting into problems immediately. Just do it on your phone. There's probably an app for it. There's probably an app to do like bad
how to
stuff.
create more issues in the world.
Yeah, exactly. How to create chaos. And so that is the thing. Well, in it's not that sports gambling isn't phrased as a bad thing in society anymore. Like it's not really viewed as
it's just
bad
like
thing.
It's what'd you bet? What'd you bet? How much you bet? How much you win?
Right. So it's an accepted part of society. Again, this is not me like backing up Brendan Sorsby here and saying the kid didn't do anything wrong. I'm simply saying that I don't know if you can necessarily blame him for the way of the world, which the way of the world right now is sports gambling. And that is what the world is. And so it's hard, but no, absolutely. The NCAA looks weak. I'm just wondering when the bubble bursts, man. I'm just wondering when does the bubble burst for the NCAA? When does that happen?
I think that, again, that's a good question. I think it's a really good question. Because these universities and these athletic programs cannot keep operating at the levels that they're operating. Like,
it's not sustainable.
We've had a coach on here say that the conference realignment is stupid. Like, there is no reason for the University of Michigan field hockey or lacrosse teams to go travel to UCLA to play a field hockey game.
Los Angeles. Yeah.
There's no reason to do that. The NCAA should just be like, all right, there are 2 sports that make us money. Maybe 3 if once come tournament time. Football, basketball, even the basketball coaches hate it. But if you're football and basketball, maybe you stay the same in conference realignment. Football for sure. Basketball, the coaches are really starting to get irritated. At least the West Coast coaches are really getting irritated. Yeah. I don't know why you guys signed on the dotted line to do this. I think you guys are just stupid. I think Oregon State and Washington State are kind of smart in this whole situation. But for football, just go back to what it was. Or not football, just remain at where it is. Just keep the conference realignment. You got to travel once a week, whatever. The money's already there. We're past the point of no return. Just stay that way. Basketball, Go back to what it was, because clearly these USC, the UCLA, Washington coaches hate having to be in the Midwest in the middle of winter for 3 weeks. They hate that. Why do you think they schedule the first 2 weeks, the first 2 months of the year, they don't leave home? Because they're like, I don't want to travel that much because we know how much we got to travel. But the other sports besides football, just go back. Go back to what it is. Because football is truly the only sport that makes a ton of money. I guess men's basketball makes money, but I also think a majority of that comes to the March Madness. But football, go back to what it is. I said 3 because maybe women's basketball creates a little bit of money come tournament time. Maybe college baseball and softball does come tournament time. So, but no, just football needs to go back to, or football needs to be its own thing at this point. Just have your own governing body, have your own commissioner, have like a salary cap or something, because these athletic programs cannot operate this way anymore. Because if I'm an athletic director, I'm going to the soccer programs, the baseball program, maybe not baseball, depending on where I am, but the field hockey, the lacrosses, whatever it is, I'm saying, I'm taking your money. You can keep your job as long as you want, as long as you don't do anything stupid. You can keep your job. I don't really care about the results because all this money is going to football or basketball, whatever you prefer.
Since the implementation of NIL and transfer portal, there have been over 1,000 programs that have been lost across college athletics at the Division I level.
It's crazy.
There are some schools that are like actually sinking. I forget the total amount of schools that actually made money like last year in terms of athletics.
15, 20.
2 or 3. No, like literally like 5 of them, I think. And I think it's less than that. Like this is, and yeah, that might be worth. They might be worth double checking just to see. But it is a conversation that we've had before on the show. Oh, okay, all right. So it's a little bit more than that. But that is the discrepancy between the programs that are up here and the programs that are down here is one that only continues to grow. All right, and we've talked about this on this show, and like I said, when we got Brian Weiss from Georgetown to talk about we need to get rid of the Big East of soccer, like I'm on the other side of the show going, did we just got the head coach of a Big East program that says this is dumb and we need to get rid of these
and a good program as well.
Yes, and a good successful program, and it's not disrespect to anybody else in that conference. That comes from a level of sympathy for everybody else, that they are spending money that they don't have, right? And the counter argument would be this, because if you go to any other Michigan sporting event outside of football, you're going to do one of two things, and maybe basketball and hockey. All right, let's take the big dogs out off the table. You go to baseball, you go to softball, lacrosse. It's either free or you're spending about $10 to get in.
Yeah.
So the counter argument is that football pays for everything else. And even at these smaller schools, you can make the same argument. Central Michigan probably makes the most money out of any sport. It has to be football, right? And especially now that they're selling beer in the stadium, I can only imagine that number's probably going to go up, right? So football feeds a lot of mouths at the school, but you're also absorbing a lot of money at the same exact time. So where does that lead us? Because football programs are, it's the how expensive they are. Everything that you do, if you have football at an athletic department, is football. Football's your entire life.
So I found the 18 universities that made profits from, again, maybe we don't even count University of Kentucky at 18 because they only made a profit of $192,000. But again, this is also from, I think, 2 years ago. Oregon, Georgia, Florida, Texas, OSU, Bama, Auburn, A&M, Penn State, Kansas State, Washington, Michigan, Nebraska, Purdue, Texas Tech, Mississippi State, and Oklahoma State. Like, here's like some big schools. Tennessee, South Carolina. This one has Indiana. I'm sure that has changed now. Arkansas, I don't even know those schools. Louisville, Wisconsin, Oklahoma. Like, there are some big schools on here that don't even make money. Did I see Central Michigan University on this list? Oh, no, I didn't. I thought maybe they said CMU. I want to see how much money CMU was losing.
Hell no.
Clemson's on this. Clemson's
that losing
even on
money?
this. So
I bet.
So it's, again, that is college athletics. Like, they cannot keep going this route. Like, at some point, you've got to be, enough is enough. We've got to stop paying all these kids, 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, X amount of money. I don't know if you saw, like, Georgia, to keep kids committed, they pay like $30,000 a month to keep them committed to Georgia. Hey, Kirby, I'll commit. I'll commit to Georgia. All you gotta do is pay me 1 month, and then you can, get my spot up. But
that's a full year's salary in 3 months, man.
Like,
just for summer workouts, that's you make a full salary, or what someone would make, working any other job. That's
like, it's insane, man. Like,
yeah.
At some point, college the bubble's gonna burst, because at what point do some schools just have college football?
Yeah,
they just have football. And I don't even know if you're allowed to operate like that. Because there's got to be some regulation in NCAA. Like, you have to have a certain amount of teams, right?
Right. Well, and the brings up the other question. Like, do we start to see more of these pop-up leagues in other sports too? As these colleges
you have to have
realize
14?
that they can't.
You have to have 14 varsity sports to be considered a Division I program.
Yeah.
7
men, 7 women's.
So
Title IX.
So you probably have, obviously, both basketballs. You have a football, baseball, softball. So that's what, 5?
5.
Maybe wrestling,
lacrosse, wrestling, track and field.
Track and field's pretty easy to operate. Doesn't cost a ton.
So, soccer. Did we say soccer?
Soccer could, but that's typically a women's sport.
Yeah.
So like, how many Division I programs are, like, just for the Central Michigans of the world? Like,
yeah.
How long could they last? Eastern, Western seems to be in a pretty good state. I don't really want to admit that, but they seem to be in a pretty good state. Like, how long until these programs don't exist? How long until these schools don't exist?
The decisions that were made in the best interest of the top percentile of college athletics. And it all came down to football. And I thought it was when Brian Weiss also talked about how, college soccer can do what the MLS Next is doing. College soccer can do what the USL is doing. We can do it for cheaper. We can do it for free. But I even mentioned it on our social media, and people really received it really well. They were like, yeah, maybe it's too late. And it is, in some respects, I feel like it is kind of too late for college soccer, not just simply because they didn't get on the bandwagon quickly enough to be that pathway, but also you're dealing with everything else that comes with college football is just making college athletics in general that much more expensive. And the more that these players are making and the more that they have to extract money from everywhere else means the less for everybody else involved in the entire situation. So no, it's going to burst. I don't know when. All I'll say is this. I think it's going to be sudden. I think it's going to be unexpected. But I don't necessarily see people bringing like pitchforks and like, marching on whatever. But I will say I think it's going to come a lot quicker. Much like that sneaking suspicion I had earlier about the U.S. men's national team doing well, and another sneaking suspicion too that this one will happen quickly and brutally for the NCAA.
Yeah, it's gonna be sad to see.
Yeah, you want to do some social media questions on our way back from break, and then we can get into question of the day. I know we've got about 7 minutes until we get to
yeah, sure,
question of the day. All right, let's do it when we come back here on Inside the Game. Inside the Game into our final segment here on episode 299. As always, we appreciate everybody that hops in, whether it be on the comments section or on the social media side at Nat Soccer TV, as well as Sports Nation, that is sports with a Z on social media. We can touch on some of our comments here, maybe a few social media comments before we get to our question of the day. Bruno asks, what's soccer?
A sport where you kick the ball with your feet, and only the goalkeeper can catch it with him or her hands.
That's an interesting question. We probably should have started off episode number 1 with answering that question. Sorry it took us 299 episodes to finally answer what is soccer. I don't know. What is soccer? I've been talking about it for, a year and a half.
I'm going to go back and watch episode 1 and just comment. Why did you say what's soccer?
What is soccer, man? B-Chan said, the reason I know soccer in the USA is growing is because I have friends who are MLS fanatics and go to all the home LAFC games. So I'm assuming he's from Los Angeles, which for someone who mainly is around people who watch American football, it's kind of cool seeing some of them turn to soccer. Yeah, I mean, I imagine in places like Miami, it's probably converted a lot of people. Like, listen, the greatest player in the history of this sport is here. Like, I imagine there's even, like, non-soccer fans who are like, if you get a chance to go watch Messi, yes, absolutely, because everybody knows who Messi is, just like everybody knows who Ronaldo is. So I imagine there's segments of the country that are converting.
It was the same thing when Pele was in the whatever league before the MLS was. Like, if you go to a New York Cosmos game
or whatever, Cosmos, there we go.
They were sold out, like, if it was home or away, because they want to see the guy. There's certain athletes, like, I didn't want to go to a Pistons Spurs game, but Wemby was playing. My friends were like, let's go. And I'm like, all right, I'll go. Like, they were all for it. They just wanted to see Wemby. I could have cared less. To be honest with you, Nate, there's not an athlete, I think, outside of Messi that I will, like, drop. I'm like, I got to go to the game. I have to. I just have to see it in person one time. Like, I've seen Ronaldo play. That was cool, but I don't know. There's not at least an athlete that plays in the American leagues that I'm like, I need to go see. But there's certain athletes. Messi is probably the only athlete that I'll be like, I need to go see him.
That's why I think the MLS kind of revolves around this guy. There's another really good comment. Just has a Brazilian flag in his username. But he says it also helps that American soccer leagues, even most MLS matches, are one of the last remaining affordable sporting events to actually go to and watch.
Sporting event?
I would say MLS matches.
I just had that conversation with my dad yesterday, actually. I was like, I don't think it costs much to go to an MLS game.
No.
Does it cost much to go to a USL Championship game?
Baseball, can be fairly inexpensive. Like, depending.
That's also,
right?
I think, because there's 81 home games.
Right, exactly. So I'll say that's somewhat affordable. But
you're right.
You're right. Like, minor league baseball, some major league baseball teams, and then MLS. I would also say USL too. But that's why I like, go out and watch your community team. Like, even at like Midwest United here in Grand Rapids, like, they got the food trucks, they got the drinks out. Like, it's fun. It's fun, and it's right there too.
Average cost to attend an MLS regular season game is typically between $45 and $95. So it all depends, obviously.
Oh, that's not bad.
It obviously depends where you go. I imagine Inter Miami is a completely different cost. But no, I think you're right. Also with the baseball thing, I mean, you could buy a ticket for like $5 to go to a Tigers game, I'm sure. Which I do want to ask you this question, Nate, about Tarik Skubal. Obviously, you met Mr. Jimmy John Surgery freaky fast on Sunday, but the Tigers will see. The Tigers will have to see how they do in the next month. They will need to win like 22 of the next 30. Playing 500 ball will not do it. Only one team in the AL has less wins than the Tigers. That's the Angels. They should trade Skubal.
Yeah, they have to get red hot in June. And he's right. No, 500 ball is not going to do it the rest of the way. And if you get within a couple of games of that wild card spot, then there's a legitimate argument to hold on to Tarik Skubal. But the only reason why Scott Harris is like, no, he's off guards right, and he's off limits right now, is because he doesn't want to come off as desperate, right? He's playing keep away. He's playing the hard game. He is forcing these other organizations to go, you know what? They're not going to talk right now. We're going to pull a Godfather. That's what we're going to do. We're going to give you an offer that you can't, what does he say? Offer you can't deny or whatever. You've seen The Godfather, right? I
have not, but I think it's an offer you can't refuse.
An offer you can't refuse. There it is. Yeah. So you're going to force the Dodgers, whether it be them or the Diamondbacks or the Pirates or the Brewers, whoever it is, you are going to force them to go, okay. Or the Rays. I really like one of their hitting prospects. I think their top prospect is a dog. I'd love to have him. But anyways, we are going to make you an offer that you literally cannot refuse. That's why he's saying he's off limits right now. And I think the only way that we hold on to him is if we get there and we are a couple of games out of the wild card spot. But that's a tall ask for a team who literally fell off the side of a mountain.
Remember, we're only 5.5 back right now. Just saying.
Yeah.
This is probably the last one before we get into QOTD. See what I did there. I said one good hitting prospect for if Skubal were to go this year without a contract renewal. You got to get 3 good ball players for him. In the playoffs, Skubal means everything for a contending team.
Yeah,
I'd agree, but I don't think there's a team out there that would give out more than one elite prospect for potentially a rental.
Yeah, that's where it's hard. I think you get 2. You try to at least swing 2 top 30 guys, right? And then, then we can talk. Maybe some draft capital, but you're right. I don't think they're going to give up a lot. The only thing is like, depending on what organization you look at, you might get some pretty valuable prospects in the long run. And go ahead.
The Brewers are number 1. The Dodgers are number 2. Pirates are number 3. That'd be cool to see Skeens and Skubal together. The Cardinals are number 4. The Tigers actually have the 5th. This is the start of the year, by the way. The Tigers were number 5 rather, because they still counted Kevin McGonigal on there. Then Max Clark, Rayner, and Briseño. The Guardians number 6, Mets 7, Mariners 8, Twins 9, Rays 10. So that's interesting. I just think though, if this was last year's trade deadline, say we were in this exact same situation, I think you could get 3 elite hitting prospects for Tarik Skubal. But I just think with the contract and maybe with the Dodgers, maybe you're like, well, dude, you're going to re-sign him anyway. You might as well just give us your best prospects. So, yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Exactly. They're gonna give him $400 million. Like someone is. Also, the Padres have made a reputation of literally selling their souls in order to make postseason runs. So, not that Ethan Salas is someone that I'm not necessarily
or the Mets,
killing.
The Mets do. The Mets don't have a good farm. No, I just said the Mets have a good farm system, right? Top 10. Yeah, they're 7.
I think so. Yeah,
they're 7.
Yeah,
they got
some
pitcher,
they got some dudes.
An outfielder, another pitcher, and another outfielder in the top 100. So,
yeah.
But we don't need more pitching prospects. God, we produce them like it's not. Even when we're trash, we produce pitching prospects. Look at Skubal himself.
You got to buy your arms, develop your bats, buy your arms. That's the formula. But anyway,
yeah. But the Tigers just poop them out basically. Oh yeah, exactly. Here's another Cy Young winner. Even we're winning 10 games a year anyway. Question of the day. This is actually about another team that wins 10 games a year. Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off. That number 1 smell-proof cleat bag that 100% works. Scan that QR code on your screen or visit saltathletic.com today. Almost forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, question of the day revolving another Detroit trade candidate, this time Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin yesterday brought the 3 teams that he wants to get traded to: the Knights, the Wild, and the Panthers. Dylan Larkin is not getting traded, is he?
I mean, is it any irony that two of the teams that he wants to go to are like heavily influenced by his teammates in the gold medal game? I mean, you got Matthew Tkachuk, right? That's true.
Eichel's
I think Vegas is more of a. That's true. I think, but more with the Knights, I think it's from an organizational perspective. The aggressive moves that team, that org takes to chase Stanley Cups is exactly what I think we want the Red Wings to be.
They used to be
the
like
reality
that.
is they used to, and they're in Vegas, and they spend money, and they're aggressive, and they have a great fan base, and they want to go win a Stanley Cup. So I don't Of course, I think Vegas is squarely on that list. But yeah, Florida, you have Matthew Tkachuk. There's obviously the lack of a state income tax. I think it's funny how much that plays into going to Florida teams.
People don't want to admit that. It is,
I
man.
mean, if Michigan didn't have that state income tax, man, we might be getting some more players coming our way.
Our roads would never get fixed.
But Minnesota's another fun team too. I mean, several of the former Team USA guys. Yeah, and you got Quinn Hughes. So
that would be the worst decision if he somehow ended up on the Wild, because we could have had Quinn Hughes. But Stevie was like, no, I don't want to do that. He was going to sign here. He was going to re-sign here regardless. Douchebag.
Man, and I don't mind the Minnesota Wild. Like, they're just one of those teams that they've just kind of sputtered and they've never really won anything. So
Minnesota
I like all the
anything,
destinations. But no, of course we're not going to trade him. What we're going to do is we're going to hold on to him. We're going to keep him here, and then we're going to go out next year, and then we're going to fall down the stairs again, and then we're going to have these same conversations at the same times. But what do we do? And the Yzer plan isn't working out. It's like it's a nightmare. It's a never-ending nightmare. I heard Valenti talk about it the other day on 97.1. He's like, it's just a nightmare you can't wake up from. And that's where we are right now with the Red Wings. He should get traded. And I think any of those places probably have a good return for the Red Wings that we can start, kind of rebuilding this thing the way that we need to. But no, you're right. I don't see it happening either.
I think with Larkin, I think he's going to be on the team this year, whether he plays or not, whether it takes him a minute, whatever it is. I don't think it's going to happen, because I heard Neil say that next season he can only say no to 10 teams, which means he could then 20 teams are able to get Dylan Larkin. Again, Steve Yzerman is under zero pressure to trade this dude. He is under no pressure because he's locked up until 2031. And Larkin is really in no situation to have a say in anything, because Stevie would be like, all right, that's a cool list. Vegas has no money, and none of these teams have any prospects at all or good draft capital. So, no, I'm not doing that at all. Maybe you could give me another list of 3 or 4 teams that might have it. Like San Jose, I heard, is a very good option that he could go to because they've got some young guys. But outside of that, if you're Steve Yzerman, if he is still the GM, I don't know if he's ever going to leave. Based on hearing from certain Red Wing elite, I don't think he's ever going to leave just because of what he's done before. But look, Stevie, if there's one thing that you do well in your time as the GM of the Red Wings, is do not force a trade to Larkin to go to one of those 3 teams. Just find a best suitor for yourself. Now be selfish, Stevie. Be selfish in this situation and be like, all right, how do we benefit my hockey team? And if it means going to a place where Dylan doesn't even really want to go on that list, you send him there and get the best draft capital or prospects that can help this team in the next year or so. Do not be like, okay, Larkin, we'll send you to Vegas. We'll take on cap space, and we'll take on no draft capital and no draft prospects. Unless you somehow tell these teams to be like, all right, give us like 5 first-round draft picks. That's like really about it.
Yeah, I agree. That'll wrap up episode number 299. Number 300 coming up tomorrow morning. We will talk to you guys then. Again, thank you so much for giving us a follow, whether it be on social media or on here or everywhere else. Like, subscribe, follow, do all the good stuff. And we will chat to you guys for number 300 on the eve of the World Cup coming up tomorrow here on Inside the Game.